Good morning. I am so excited to be here, and it is a very special day. So I'm going to begin. Today is the day that we recognize as International Essential Oils Day because it is the birthday of the founder of modern day essential oils, Gary Young. So it seems appropriate to me to begin with Gary's Light, the blend, this beautiful, beautiful blend. And whatever blend you have nearby, just apply it, breathe it in. I'm going to play the bells just a little bit before I really get started. And I have both of the bells. I'm going to do something different in attempting to play one with my right hand and one with my left. So just take a deep breath, breathe in those glorious oils, and breathe in these frequencies. So much stuff on my desk today, as always, but it seems to be even more crowded today. So happy Sunday. Our topic today, one day or day one, was inspired by something that Melissa Peping wrote. She used those 4 words that really just spoke to me, and I thought, I want to talk about them. So here we are, one day or day one. Well, how many times have you said, I am going to, or one day I will do something, one day I will live, one day I will have fun? We have all done it. And what are we really doing? We are postponing life. Do you postpone living? Dr. Elizabeth Kubler Ross said that the people who fear death the most are those who never experienced living. How often do we put off what we could be doing? Well, what seemed to me was the first thing that came to my mind was, what would Gary do? And today being his birthday, seemed like I just started recalling so many of the stories and the adventures and his words. And I began to think, passion, why do we postpone things? Is it because whatever it is we are not excited about enough, or that we do not value it enough? What is the reason? So I began to think a little bit more and more, is it consistent with our values? Perhaps those things that we say we're going to do may not really be consistent with our values. So this tends to make us need a requirement to go back and pay attention. What really is important? And one of the things that really came out when I was looking back at some of my old videos and looking through some notes, reminiscing about things that Gary had said. Gary actually created a culture of courage. He gave us the tools, the oils, the supplements, the platform, the company, the tools to provide courage for self-growth. And this reminded me that what is the value of our life? What do we really feel is the most important thing about our life? Well, looking at Gary Young, the value of life is measured by the number of lives that you have positively impacted. And that brings me to the next oil, the One Heart blend that is sitting here. This is all about bringing us together to support others, to positively impact others. This is the blend last year of the foundation of the Gary Young Foundation, the Young Living Foundation. And it's all about sharing ourselves, sharing our talents, sharing of ourselves. Any of you who ever met Gary, I get really emotional talking about these things, know that when you were with him, when you were in front of him, you were the most important person in the world. If you never, ever pick up any other trait, that is a beautiful trait to incorporate into who you are, to allow others to feel that you make them feel important. When you're talking with someone, if you're looking behind them, looking around the room, or thinking about something else, it comes through. So this was the first thing that I thought about when I thought about Gary, because I can remember so often when he was in a room full of people just waiting to get a chance to get a picture with him or to speak to him. Whoever was right in front of him was the most important person in the world, and you truly felt honored and special and valued. So, what else did he teach us? Well, to aspire to inspire. Those are my words, not his words, but aspire to inspire others. Inspire others to do something. Well, this first, in thinking about this week, most especially this morning, it's all about first inspiring ourselves. And whether it's something you're thinking, oh, I can do this next week, next month, next year, or it'll take a long plan. Right now is the time to begin. This can be day one. What are we waiting for? Gary gave us these tools to have courage. He truly built a life of courage. Courage to live each adventure. Courage to make the most of each experience. I have some other things written down here because I just really and truly, there are just so many things that I want to say, and that thoughts are just going round and round. So how do we get those thoughts to just calm down and get ourselves centered? Well, one way just might be to use some oils. Would you agree? What are some of your favorite oils for really getting yourself to focus? Could be clarity. It could be valor. I have right now that I'm picking up Northern Lights Black Spruce. thinking every time I use that particular oil, I think of these little trees. They're little trees. They are tall, but they're not these big trees with giant tree trunks. Instead, they have strong roots, and their trunks are very flexible. How often do we set our goals, very rigid goals, and attempt to stick to those even though the situation changes? Well, these black spruce trees blow in the wind. They can make it through all sorts of amazingly extreme temperatures and weather conditions. So as we become more flexible while growing our roots deeper, could that be the secret that we can learn from these trees to make certain that we are fully grounded? And then when we come up with this idea of, I am going to do something. Someday or one day I will do something. Let's narrow it down and pay attention to it. I'm choosing to make this the day one for me, where I put aside my old refinement list. I'm pulling out the things because I'm not looking back at the past. I am going to write these things right this minute. Put down, you may choose to do this. That's part of our 30-day transformational experience in the Rainbow Healing, to really start out fresh. If you have a fresh notebook, a fresh journal, just a fresh piece of paper, and draw that line down the center, putting the things that you choose to have in your life, the things you choose to experience. Really pay attention, and the things that you choose not to have in your life, the things that you really will not allow to have there. Get that new list, not bringing things forward from the past. The past is over. We are right here. Today is day one. Now, what is it about those people like Gary Young who maintain that excitement? Well, I was thinking back to some of the things that I have written in the past, and the difference between excitement and passion. What do those two words mean to you? Well, excitement, in Gary's word, is the flame. That's the first flame. When you're excited about something, it's that initial burst of flame. What happens to the fire? Well, the fire is short-lived many times. However, and that's what happens to those of us who start something and never end up finishing it. Would you agree? So it's that flame that we were so excited, we were inspired to do something, and then it fizzled out because something came up that took our focus away. The card that I drew this morning was the performer, and what I always feel, the performer is about focus. Totally focusing on all the details, the littlest details as well as the big picture. Focus, focus, focus. So as we have this excitement and this focus, writing down, expressing to ourselves what we're feeling, we'll then have the opportunity for that flame to ignite our passion. So the excitement comes first, but it is short-lived unless it ignites that flame of passion. When you are truly passionate, nothing will stop you. Watching Gary Young certainly would attest to that. There was no way that he would be stopped. Nothing was impossible, ever, ever for him. In fact, that was often the fastest way to get something done. We joked, the fastest way to get something done is to tell Gary it's impossible. Nothing is impossible if you have the focus and the passion. People ask me, how can you be so passionate about what you do when you've been doing it for over 20 years? And my answer is always because I am passionate. My passion grows, excitement dims as that flame burns out. Passion grows and becomes larger and larger. So as you sit down with your refinement list, pay attention to what's there and really evaluate each thing you've written. You may have written only 2 or 3 things. You may have written 20 things. It's up to you, but really look at those items that are on your refinement list and determine if each one of them is consistent with your values. What are your values? Is your value the intent to add value to others? Is your value content to add value to yourself? Well, both are great, because when we add value to ourselves, we then can radiate that outward. So it's really all about us first, and it isn't about anyone else. When we are solid with those solid roots, then we can allow that to radiate out from us, positively impacting the lives of others, which is exactly what we had the perfect role model in Gary Young. He never gave up, never, ever, ever. Did he have to change directions? Absolutely. Many, many, many times I've watched in awe at his ability to change directions. Now, I was raised with, I'm one of these who always, I would make an informed decision, and I may be talking to some of you. I would make that analysis and that informed decision, and that was the way it had to be. I would go along and carefully follow my plan with blinders on. However, in the process, I missed so much of life and so many opportunities. When I first began throwing that away and paying attention to the moment, being in that present moment, which present time has been difficult for me for much of my life, things changed. Because when you can change direction without having everything planned too far ahead, then you open up many, many more opportunities. So I'm going to challenge each of you this week to really just sit down, to make the decision whether you will do something one day. To me, those one-day things are the things I cross off my refinement list, because they're not the things that are important to me, or I push them down to the very bottom. Are you going to make today, the 11th of July, 2021, one day in your life? Or will you make this day day one. So have a beautiful, beautiful week filled with lots of happy experiences and many understandings of what really is important to you. And I'll see you next Sunday.